Hi everyone, I hope everyone is doing well. In this video I want to talk about my weightlifting stuff and some of the things that I'm working on. I haven't really been showing too many of the clips because they really aren't that exciting of what I've been doing, but I'll obviously be including some in this video so you can see some of the things that I'm working on. And so I'll start with a snatch, and they're really similar with both lifts of what I'm trying to work on a little bit. There are some parallels and there's some things that are different since they are obviously different lifts. But with the snatch, one of the things that I have a big issue with, I think I'm decent at that first pull up to my shins, but it's really once I get to my knees, that's when things start to get difficult for me. It's when I start trying to just throw my back and just try to just muscle it up with it, and that's not really an efficient way to go about it. So what I'm trying to work on as far as snatches go is to get my knees back, so kind of just to put all the weight into my posterior chain once the bar gets to my knees, and once it gets past my knees to kind of let my knees come back out as I straighten my torso up and then jump up with it. So essentially I'm trying to wait longer to extend with it, because I have a tendency to just go as soon as it's past my knees to just try to flip it up with as much force as I possibly can. But what I'm trying to do is just wait longer and to just have a generally more efficient motion with that. So with the lighter weights, it allows me to kind of groove that more and to do a lot of kind of like hang snatches and just a lot more reps with that, and to just really try to nail that form in as far as snatches go. And it's a bit of a struggle, and that's why I plan on staying with lighter weights for a while. It allows me to do more repetitions which is what I need to do now, more so than lots of weight. And if I'm doing it with bad form, I'm not really going to progress very well with that. So as I get better at the form, I'll try to add more weight, and then that will kind of be a measuring stick for my ability with the lift itself. I will most likely continue to do things like snatch balances where I do them. It's like kind of almost looks like a press behind my back, but I jump under the bar with it in the snatch position with that, to kind of work on dropping down and to catching it in that bottom position with it. It just depends on how good my leg feels, as I'm not going to push those supplementary type movements if I in pain from doing squats and stuff. I'd rather put all the strain from, put all my focus into doing squats and those movements, since those are specific to powerlifting stuff, and then if I'm able to add in those supplementary weightlifting stuff, because they're beneficial just to building muscle and to kind of, creating more stable quads and building the quads up a little bit with that. But I'm not too particularly worried about, I'm more worried about just staying healthy with that and getting my hip and IT band to kind of feel as good as it possibly can as far as that goes. And then moving on to the clean and jerks and stuff like that. With cleans, I'm mostly just cleans, power cleans, for me for relatively the same kind of focus with those. But I'm essentially just trying to make it like my deadlift more. Obviously I'm in weightlifting shoes, so it kind of makes the biomechanics a little bit different. But what I want to do with that is just to kind of just keep it similar to my deadlift and just pull the crap out of it until it's behind my knees, but also like with the snatches, to wait longer and to not immediately have my legs straight and just try to jerk it with my back, but to wait longer to get my torso more upright and to use my legs more to kind of pop the bar up with that. So there's a lot of things to still focus on as far as the clean goes, but for me it's a simpler motion with it, and it's more natural since I've done so many deadlifts, and the biomechanics are relatively similar. And due to my skill at jerks, I'm not at a point where I'm limited by how much I can clean with how much I can jerk. I'm still well under my best clean from where my best jerk is with that. But speaking of my jerks, the one thing that I'm focusing on as far as that movement goes is to, one, just get into a good position, focus on the open hand thing with it, because that allows me to kind of push more efficiently with that. But also the same thing with the other two lifts is just waiting to extend with it, because I tend to rush it. And with jerks, if you rush the jerk, I end up just pressing it up, which works if I'm using light weights, but once I get to heavier weights, then it's just not an efficient way to do the movement with it. So one of the cues that I'm trying to use for that is to dip down and then feel myself extend and feel the bar kind of have pressure against where it's sitting on my chest and collarbone area, and then just kind of push under the bar and to drop under it and to land in that good position. When I land in that bottom position, I want my back leg to be bent a little bit and to have my foot up. Because of my ankle mobility, I can pretty much have my back foot flat, but if I have to, or if I lose my balance, or if I don't land perfectly, then it's not the most efficient way to land with it. And if I have my back foot flat, I have a tendency to have my leg straight as well, so which makes balancing, if you don't land perfectly, a little bit more difficult. Plus, if your knee's bent, you can get a little bit under it as well with it. But jerks felt really good the last time I did them, as well as cleans, although the cleans were really light. The jerks were relatively heavy for based on what my max is with that, which is 225. My best clean and jerk is that with it. But I plan on continuing to do that, and I think it will only get better as I get more efficient at the movement. I'll be able to move faster and be more explosive with it, because that's still an issue that I kind of have with the weightlifting stuff. But as I get more efficient at the movements, I'll be able to just try to move faster within the movements with it. What I want to do with all the weightlifting type movements is to just kind of groove efficient motor patterns, so then when I'm just trying to move really quickly within the motions, I'm able to have as efficient mechanics as I can. Obviously, I'm never going to be like an Olympic weightlifter or anything like that, but I do have goals with weightlifting, and I do want to get better at the movements and to be stronger at the movements, and I do have the strength to be a lot better, or to have a lot better numbers than what I currently have now. So my biggest limiting factor is just the mechanics of the movements themselves. So it's kind of a nice problem to have. It means I can handle a lot of really light volume with it, and I have a lot of potential for growth with them. At least I think I do, based on how much I can squat and squat, I guess. Squat and front squat, even with that, because I have higher number. I can front squat more than what I can clean by 50 pounds, so I do have a lot of room to improve with those, and based on my current leg strength, I do have the ability to snatch a lot more of that. So there's a lot of little things I want to try, and there's a lot of things I want to experiment with, but the big thing is just focusing on working with light weights and working with mechanics with that, and just trying to drill as good as mechanics as I can before I start putting weight on the bar. So once I start working with heavier weights, where my mechanics will have a tendency to break down, they'll break down in a way that's still more efficient than what I was previously at with it. And since I don't have any immediate goals as far as any weightlifting stuff, I think it's a good idea for me to kind of just spend the time to get as efficient with the movements as I can before I start trying to push the weights with them, because I'll hit a ceiling really quick if I push the weights with the snatch and the clean and jerk with it, because of my mechanics with it. But if I'm able to have those efficient mechanics, then I can be limited by things like strength, which are easier to improve on than mechanics with it. Plus, I don't want to groove bad mechanics and have to spend a lot of time to fix mechanics once I've already reached a certain point with those. I have the advantage of being relatively new at the weightlifting stuff, so I still have the ability to kind of just change my motor patterns, or to learn different movements in a more efficient way without having years and years and years of bad practice. I just don't have years of practice, which is good and bad. It's good that I don't have any horrible patterns really drilled in to a point where they're going to be really difficult to change. The bad thing is I just don't have that practice of the good patterns with it. So that's really about it that I've talked about for this video. Like I mentioned in my previous weekly update, I hopefully we'll be able to do a live stream later this week. I do have a video planned to upload in the morning on Friday, which I'll upload before I go to school, and then potentially in the evening Friday, or potentially Saturday, to do a live stream and just talk about random things with that, and perhaps make it to be a weekly update video, and perhaps include Jake if he's able to. But even if he's not, I may just do that and just talk about random things as far as lifting stuff goes. And if any of you are interested in joining that, or if you have any topics that you'd be interested in discussing with a live stream, you can leave those down below, and I can catalog those to include in the live stream with that. If not, then I may just rant for a little bit and then go to bed with that, because I do have the ability to just kind of ramble on about different things, and hopefully it's at least semi-interesting to some of you. But if any of you made it this far, I do appreciate it. And if you have any thoughts or comments, please leave those down below. And as always, thanks for watching, and have a wonderful day.